social commerce and creator affiliates to me is the number one opportunity in retail media, especially right now. 70% of retail media spend is sponsored products.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vayner. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future content. Now let's get started with the episode. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Mastering E-commerce Marketing. Joining us today is Mike Feldman, SVP Global Head of Retail Media at VaynerMedia, a recognized leader in retail media and AI-driven commerce. His work with top agencies and brands to transform how companies connect with consumers. Welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
Mike, before we get started, if you had to pick 3 words that sum up what matters most to you, whether in life or work, what would they be?
Yeah, I absolutely love this question. Fun facts about me is I journal pretty much every day of my life. And so one of the things I journaled about recently was what is my personal and professional mantra, and it ended up being exactly 3 words. So I love this question. So my personal mantra I talk about is connection, creativity, and charisma. So as I think about connection, the thing I'm most fulfilled in the world is connection with people. Like I spend time with my family, my close friends and cherished ones, but also as I grew up a media practitioner. So connection at its finest, finding the right audiences with the right message. So that's been so core to me. Creativity is something where this is actually my first time in a creatively focused role. I've been more of like media or in like sales or different capabilities, but the ability to be creative in those situations, to be entrepreneurial, to find sort of those hidden pockets of innovation has been so important to me. And then the last one, charisma. If you can't tell, I am a passionate person. And I'd say where I have had the most success in my career is just, sort of nerding out on the things that matter to me most. So that's sort of my human element is I bring the charisma to the situation to, increase the excitement.
Love it. It's like the 3 C's, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's where, it's like in my my journaling, I like a good, like catchy, going back to the creative thing, like the 3 C's is always helpful.
It's such a coincidence because like a couple of days ago, I wrote a LinkedIn post on 3 C's of the new digital ecosystem, which is content, community, and commerce, right? So content drives community, builds relationships, trust, and then you can have, business opportunity, actually commerce. So each one of his own 3 C's, and just writing every day is really inspiring and beautiful. It's kind of a therapeutic kind of thing, just helping you, brainstorm with yourself, which is people need to trust more of their instincts and just spending more time with themselves internally, which where all the answers are. You just have to deep dive, marathon, out. Yeah,
I wholeheartedly agree. Like, journaling has been something I've done for a while, but I started doing it consistently for the last couple of years. And from like a mental health standpoint, it's great. But even where I really started doing it is basically my entire life is either work or parenting. And it was a good sort of transition moment for me at like the end of the day to sort of take those elements and then like sort of get back into myself. Because in so much of work, you're like operating for clients or the company or things like that. And so much for my kids is obviously like, giving them my undivided attention and sort of that support. And so, yeah, it's that nice transition to sort of go from always serving to then like getting back into myself.
Amazing. I mean, we are so outbound oriented, right? And we need to look inwards to pause, right? And then look inside and, work with ourselves. So, hey, Mike, that's a great start. I believe in this a lot. And I also practice all these writing, practices, and there is in a certain way, if you do it right, it's so helpful in so many levels. Great. So, Mike, what is the current state of retail media? I saw the latest report from eMarketer, right? Obviously, just Walmart and Amazon just reached 50% of the overall, online retail GMVs, and obviously there is a long tail of players on the other side. How do you see the industry right now?
Yeah. So in general, retail media continues to be doing well. And, in our like even current marketing landscape, even if we talk about like, hey, dollars may be down or things like that, most brands are still prioritizing retail media because of the ability to connect it from, impression to actual sale. I think there's a lot of interesting dynamics once you sort of dive into retail media. So I'd say broadly, retail media doing well, going to continue to grow. Within those dynamics, though, and you reference eMarketer, right? There's a great eMarketer chart that shows sort of the breakdown of the various RMNs, and it's like Amazon and Walmart are an 85 share for an 83 share, and then like everyone, the other 200 are fighting for the smaller piece of the pie. That's certainly a big piece of the dynamic, especially as every retail media network is generally getting asked to have a 20% increase year over year. And so as you think about that in a environment where not every ad budget is growing by 20%, I would say even growing by 3% might be rare. And so as you think about Amazon and Walmart and others pushing for that, there is going to be some give there. And so I think Amazon and Walmart, Amazon in a league of their own, Walmart in sort of a second tier of their own, and then there's everyone else. And I think we're going to see some challenges for the everyone else, especially as they're trying to hit 20% year over year goals with increased profitability or staying the same from a profit standpoint.
So what do you see are the main challenges? And probably we can discuss, the brand side and the retailer side. I mean, what are the major KPIs to see? How do you define success for both sides of these? No.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we'll go retail first. So for them, obviously, success is growing the revenue and the margin. You look at someone like Walmart, and I think one of the most fascinating things is now Walmart Connect is a third of Walmart's entire operating margin. And so that unequivocally, like Walmart, a giant, now a third is retail media. And that just shows you that running an ad business is honestly one of the best things you can do with your time, energy, and effort. And so we will continue to see that focus. Now, not everyone has the right to win. And so I think about retail media's retailers monetizing their data or their properties. Everyone certainly has the data piece. The properties, I think, is where it gets interesting, is right now so much is like monetizing the on-site experience. I saw an interesting stat that I think 99% of product searches on Amazon and Walmart have sponsored ads in there. So like there's literally no more monetization on those sites and a lot of sort of fast follows there. So then it's really, how do you expand those properties elsewhere? That's why Amazon is so advantaged because of Prime Video. That's where I think Walmart has a major right to win once they incorporate more of the Vizio acquisition into their standard procedures. But if I'm the long tail of retail media networks, and even to tie into your free Cs, I am really thinking about content to commerce opportunities as a way to sort of bridge that gap to what they don't have that an Amazon or a Walmart does.
Yeah. And how things are looking from the brand perspectives. I mean, when they want to deploy, budgets.
Yep. So with brands, one of the things that, and I talk to brands all the time, I'd say the majority of my work now is buy side versus in the past I've done buy side and sell side. But the majority of the conversations with the brands around retail media is not, hey, we get to do retail media or I want to do retail media. The sentiment generally is I have to do retail media. And so I would say in terms of like what success looks like, it's really proving out the value compared to the other alternatives that the brands have. We're hearing so much talk in retail media about incrementality. And so I'd say like retail media, because it's accountable and ties to sales, has also gotten brands into this ROAS trap where they're just optimizing towards ROAS. It's subsidizing their base. They're not driving incremental returns. And then they look up and they're like, hey, I spent $30 million in retail media and my sales went down. And so I'd say where we're really pushing and where I think brands can win is proving that it is driving incrementality to the business. And so instead of looking at ROAS benchmarks, it's really like as an organization and as a brand looking to make sure you're driving household pen uplift, you're driving unit uplift. And then I would say for the brands and where I would guide is to then be optimizing to contribution margin. So make sure you're hitting sort of your North Stars of household pen growth, traffic growth, unit growth, and then contribution margin is that optimization lever versus just like pouring money into the ROAS machine.
Yeah. And you see any discussion or more focus towards the offline aspect of retail media, or it's primarily online? And because I saw like this is just very confusing because I saw so many reports and they claim, yes, physical, like offline is going to be big with retail media, and the others just, it's totally stagnated, right? So what are your thoughts on offline part of retail media?
Yeah. So there, it's interesting. I think in-store retail media, offline, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most interesting battlegrounds. I think, especially in-store, you look at it and there's so much in trade publications or others that they're essentially banking on in-store being a savior to like the growth of the retail media business. I personally, especially in the US specifically, don't see in-store being like a hockey stick for brands in retail media. There's a couple challenges. One, the buying ecosystem isn't necessarily set up to do in-store at scale in an efficient and effective way. There's also, again, going back to like I talked about incrementality measurement. I think it's really hard to then prove out the measurement of those sorts of platforms. And just in the US, the retail environment is just a little bit different. I would say the in-store opportunities in like EMEA, like if you go down London, like there's some really great in-store opportunities, and those just simply don't exist in the US because you're driving further to get to the stores. They're larger footprint. Like it's just a little bit logistical difference than how it is in other markets.
Yes. And how do you see the use of data, right, from the retailer perspectives in terms of, obviously, they're providing first-party data, and it's very, very powerful for any brands also out there. What are some of the processes that you see? And obviously, great opportunity to start discussing the AI, right, influence this whole perspective. How do you see data just reshaping, decision-making, campaigns, structuring in 2025?
Yeah. So the retail media data is really the reason that people invest in retail media. It's targeting on the front end, better measurement on the back end, where I think framing your question and even a little bit of like the value of data. One thing I really like what Amazon is doing is that they are allowing brands a better opportunity to interact and play with the data than just being purely in a walled garden environment. And so a couple of the examples I would give is Amazon has launched Brand Plus. And so that's really, taking a lot of the brand data, integrating that into the campaigns. But I also think what they're doing in an Amazon marketing cloud is fascinating, where you can take Amazon in-market data, like people looking for this type of product. You can then reach them through Prime Video and actually drive them back to the brand experience. And that's where Amazon is truly taking the approach of like, hey, we're going to monetize the data and to use for advertisers in sort of the best, most efficient and effective ways. To me, I think that is a really strong approach, and I would recommend other retail media networks adopt it. I think where they're concerned is like, oh, once you let sort of the data go, do you lose some of the ability to monetize? But I think that's where Amazon takes such a good approach of like the consumer first experience. It's not necessarily for the retail margins, but a lot of that tends to follow on the back end because they've created such great stickiness with their consumers, because people are so accustomed to Prime and those sort of capabilities that it's really enhanced their ability to sell media.
Yeah. Interesting. So another major trend that we see right in the industry right now is social commerce, and probably what drives social commerce, which is type of video commerce, both live shopping and shoppable videos. How do you see these trends influencing retail media?
The social commerce and creator affiliates, to me, is, I would argue, the number one opportunity in retail media, especially if you think about right now, 70% of retail media spend is sponsored products. And so retail search on site. I would argue, and going back to the ROAS commentary, that a lot of that is subsidizing base and not incremental. Like the amount of brands spending really heavily on branded search terms and like the dollars that add up there, where if I'm going online and I'm searching, I have a Yeti, water bottle here. If I go search Yeti, I'm probably looking for a Yeti water bottle, not like any water bottle. And so I think getting off the sponsored product drug or the ROAS drug is really important. The area where I would go and recommend, and just as a consumer, the things I buy because of TikTok, because of, Instagram, because of what I'm seeing in social through influencers, is massive. Also, the creator affiliate deals we're seeing is that you can set it up in a way that it's really accountable. That's why people like retail search. You're going to bid for your click and you get, a certain amount of sales, where you can structure a commission in a way where you're incentivizing people to create that social content. but then driving it back to a sale. Now, to the retail media connection, I would say one of the biggest advantages of like a TikTok is the briefing process for creator affiliates is fantastic. You can get higher revenue per affiliate, which then drives your program, and it directly ties to shop. We're seeing Amazon obviously has had their Amazon Associate and Amazon Influencer capabilities. Walmart is developing Walmart Creator, but then you even see folks like Best Buy is partnering with influencer companies to basically create specific content from influencers for Best Buy. And so you're just seeing more of that proliferation. I really do think in even the modern media landscape where more and more people are looking at social for content, knowledge, entertainment, getting those creator affiliates to sell on behalf of brands is a major unlock, and it's accountable to sales.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand the use case, and because definitely I think there is a really serious opportunity here. So you mentioned Best Buy, obviously working with TikTok affiliates, right? Creating content for Best Buy. That content is usually posted probably on the affiliates' accounts or redirecting to Best Buy TikTok shop if it's available. How this is connecting to what's and if there is any connection to the retail media opportunity. I'm thinking about a scenario where the retailers themselves can offer creator or affiliates content creation capabilities, and then creating those creatives and then posting them or publish them on the retail media assets. Well, what are your thoughts on this specific retail media use case for affiliates?
Yeah, I made a recommendation with exactly that to a retailer within the last week, so I firmly believe that.
Okay,
I'd say for retailers, where I would go if I'm sitting in a retailer shoes, I would look heavily at the creator affiliate space. And the way I would even think about it is there's so many opportunities for content to commerce, whether that's creator affiliates posting in social, live stream from the store, developing, YouTube Shorts series, you name it. There's so many opportunities to reach people in the way that the media landscape is. What I would do if I'm the retailer, you find sort of those influencers that tied to the equity of your retailer. Maybe they call out your products already, they shop there, all that great stuff. But then you can have them create content specifically designed to sell products at that retailer. And so one, you're creating a better consumer experience through great content, great influencers. You're tying that to retail data to be able to quantify the sales impact as well. And then you can even structure in a way where like the affiliates are incented to push it further. That's why I love when we do TikTok programs, revenue per affiliate is the number one thing I would look at, because the better your brief is, the easier it is for the affiliate to sell, the more money they make. It also incents them to push more and more content because it's lucrative and profitable for them. So they're going to be invested more in like pumping out more content.
Yeah.
And so it's a win for everyone.
I also see something interesting. I see like creators and affiliates, they are totally focused on retail media. What I mean is that they're redirecting users to Amazon or to Walmart or to Best Buy, just to those platforms.
To me, this was a wild one. So Amazon sunset Amazon Inspire, which was like their sort of social light platform. And really, like, it never took off. So it's not surprising they sunset it. What was interesting is the next day, all of the different social platforms sent notes. Like Snap is a good example. So Snap has the Snap Stars. And the day after Amazon sunset Amazon Inspire, every Snap star got an email from Snap saying you're automatically enrolled in Amazon Influencer, and we will give you additional incentive as to sell products to Amazon. So it's Amazon is they're playing checkers when everyone else is playing chess, and even incentivizing the people that are making their sole income through being sort of creators in these social platforms and incenting them to help sell Amazon. It's also why I applaud Walmart's strategy so much with Walmart Creator. I would say from an advertising standpoint, I have feedback on the program. At least it's in beta. So, there's early lumps. But the way they're even approaching it is Walmart is going after really strategic influencers and creators. You even think about like what they've done with Mr. Beast and Feastables, what they've done with Prime, they're launching a new personal care line for Logan Paul. And so they're really leaning into these influential creators and incorporating distribution within a lot of those conversations. You look at Walmart Creator, Walmart's also going after like the major affiliate influencer creator conferences. Like they're really trying to get people in that ecosystem to then sell Walmart products on their behalf. So like for any retailer and any brand, that's why, it's one of the major reasons I'm here at Vayner was I believe in the creator affiliate space so much, whether that's a creator-led brand, even into the sort of marketing, creative, and commerce messaging.
Yeah. And from the brand perspective, when do you think they need to seriously consider regional media? I know you'll say from day one, but let's let's try to give some recommendations for people listen to us right now when they need to seriously consider, and what are the probably some of the like fundamental activities that they need to do to get things all rolling for them.
Yep. So I'd say retail media is certainly very mature at this point. I think it's like 30% of every digital dollar retail media. So most folks are there. As it relates to some of the newer opportunities, like I would say either going up the funnel with retail media or the creator affiliates, that's where your biggest challenge is going to be. Even taking a step back, one of the biggest challenges I see in retail media overall that is so different than any other part of our industry is that it is funded from multiple sources with multiple incentives. Sometimes in retail media, you're getting funds from the brand media team, the sales organization, and then a e-com, digcom, retail media type group. Each of them have different incentive structures. I've, worked with companies where the individuals in those groups are bonused differently. So your brand media person gets bonus on total market sales based on MMM. Your salesperson gets bonused on sales at the retailer based on POS. And then your retail media digcom person, it changes. Sometimes it's e-com only sales. Sometimes it's, this, that, or the other thing. And it's all based on platform reporting. And so the decisions people will make is very different as a result. Then when you fast forward that to sort of things that are not like squarely in one place in the funnel. So like creator affiliates is a really great example where some may consider that upper funnel because you're creating content and it may not be a short-term return. Others consider it lower funnel because it's pay for performance and a commission. And so a lot of the brands and organizations themselves are not set up to fully take advantage of all that retail media has to offer because they're thinking about it in silos and everyone's kind of staying in their lane. And so that's honestly one of I've been banging that drum for years in retail media is like we need to be integrating brand equity and retail media together to maximize the potential.
Yeah. Mike, tell us more about VaynerMedia. And I know you're monitoring the industry closely. What are the opportunities that you see and what type of services that you provide today?
Yeah. So I'd say one of my Vayner, if you're not familiar, I would say we are founded by Gary Vaynerchuk, and a lot of what we do is we believe in practitionership the most. If you know Gary, he works like 16 hours a day and he's pumping out content. He writes his own copy for Wine Library, which is a liquor store that was his family's. And so much of our belief system is really based on his go-to-market approach and how he has run sort of his entrepreneurial career. And fast forward into what we're doing as an agency. So it's a lot of sort of following the playbooks and best practices. We're known for a variety of things, but one would be the higher sort of volume of creative assets. And so much of what we believe in is that no one really knows the perfect plan right off the bat. It's really about putting stuff into market, learning from those real-time signals, and then adjusting the plan accordingly. Our sort of bread and butter early on was through social. And if you think about social, it's such a great way as a consumer insights engine where, hey, we're going to put out 10 pieces of creative today. And then based on the algorithm and what resonates most with consumers, something will get more reach than another. And that's what helps inform. So we'll test 10 different creative messages. One takes off. That gives us the signal hey, this was really working for us. And so we're going to double down, triple down, or maybe we take that winning asset. We cut it up into 3 different ways. We push those out the next day and continue to learn and iterate. What got me most excited and sort of where I came in from a retail media lens is that retail media has the quickest feedback loops tied to actual sales. And so what we're now doing is we're providing a higher volume of creative content in retail media, and then we're measuring the insights based on actual sales. So Amazon and Walmart have this unit called Sponsor Brand Video, SBV. I really like that one because on Amazon, you only need a couple thousand impressions to get statistical significance. And so we're testing claim 1 versus claim 2, a social hook versus a product demo versus a creator in content. And so lots of these micro A/B testing to quickly find right and then push sort of the winning assets more. But I would say, yeah, the biggest thing is like creative and media coming together was such a big bet for me. And it's been really exciting to see that come through, especially in retail media where it's tied to an actual sale versus like a study of some kind.
Yes. And what are some of the future trends that you see, in general, not just retail media, general for commerce or e-commerce?
Yeah, so few different trends going on. The creator affiliate one in social shopping, like again, I would double, triple down on that, especially the creator affiliate space, just with how consumers are interacting and discovering products now. Like so much influence is happening in social and in platforms. A big one as well is I would say looking at the platforms directly. There's so much conversation about like the various Game of Thrones in the marketing industry. And even if you look at retail media, I think it's interesting because if I went back to earlier in my career, like we would work a little bit with the retailers, but there were so many other third parties in the mix and like doing different things. But now the retailers have sort of expanded in what they can do, and there's cost increases and capability increases. And so that's where we're seeing a diminishment of some of the third parties. But where that's really leading me is that I think being platform direct and mastering the platforms is becoming increasingly more important with where things are going. I like to look at the market caps as well. Like if you look at Alphabet, Meta, and Amazon, like those market caps, like they are giants. I don't know how many people are truly going to catch them. And so that's where we're spending time like getting in the dirt, understanding the platforms versus I would say like relying on like agency tools is something that I really believe in because the platforms change so much. If you can master the platform, you can keep going. If you have the tools, then you have to update the tools. You get data engineering, you got to test it. And so I think taking a really heavy platform approach and mastering those is going to be key in the future, just where everything is going.
Yeah. And Mike, specifically for the retail media side of things, I want to ask you about like specific categories. I mean, there is any specific insights that you can share for like CPG or apparel or electronics that might influence your strategic approach, for this type of projects?
Yeah. I'd say one right off the bat, alcohol is the most difficult one in the US from retail media because of tied house laws. So nuanced one there, even to begin with. But so I mean, the majority of retail media is going to be CPG, no surprises there. But I think, there's a really interesting thing going on with just as retail media continues to expand, we're seeing more specialty retail, even like commerce media networks that aren't necessarily a retailer, but others trying to sort of monetize their data and properties. So certainly lots happening. But I would say where I get really interested, especially on the specialty side, is if they can enhance a lot of those content to commerce opportunities. That's where I really see some interesting things for like apparel and electronics. If you look at like the beauty category, that's a really good one because there's so much being done from creator affiliates, the live shopping and things like that, but it's not necessarily tied to a retailer. That's where I think the more that like a Ulta or Sephora could be doing live streams from the store, talking about the products, answering questions to consumers in a live format. I think there is such a need and an opportunity there in those areas where I'd see that like playing really well in those type of categories, especially higher price point, bigger consideration set. That's where like relying on sponsored products maybe isn't the best strategy. And so that's where like, how do you get that education and consumer interaction piece in there? Something I would even recommend for inspiration is you look at someone like Mary Ruth's Organic. So they go live pretty often. It's an easy setup. It's someone at their cubicle with a spinning bottle. And the value of it is the consumer interaction. People are asking questions. They're providing answers. Like it works so well in even the beauty category of like, oh, does this work for sensitive skin? Does this not? And so, creating those content hubs. You mentioned community is one of your major words. Like, how do you create a community within the retailer to then educate the shoppers? I see as the major upside. Right now, it's heavy in sponsored products. We're getting off-site in terms of like trade desk integrations and things like that. But I do see that being limited or like capped relatively. And that's where I like the content areas as a way to push.
Yes. And I know you guys are totally into live shopping, right? I mean, that's...
Yes, Gary talks about live shopping. Pretty much every day. If you go on Whatnot any day, I'm sure you can find Gary on there. But even the live shopping space is so fascinating because that's even something I'm trying to like educate and push to retailers. I think everyone generally wants to do it, but there's concern about being live. Most retailers are risk adverse. And so it's like, this seems crazy to like go live in a store with all this potential unknown. And so even just sharing like, because we do it so often, like literally Team Gary V goes live every day. And so like, how do we share those best practices to anything from maximizing reach to mitigating risk are things that we're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean that live events are creating these powerful connections with more emotional experience and this interactivity. We can respond to real-time questions. It's very, very powerful.
When we talk about like good content too, so for Vayner, we did a live stream for a client, CPG, and we maybe got, 30,000 people on the live stream with no pay, which is great.
On whatnot?
We sold so actually one of our best practices, we generally will go live across multiple platforms. And if you're selling a product, we will push to like Whatnot specifically. So you might be live on, like Meta or YouTube, but then driving to a Whatnot experience if you want to go sell it. As like a quick example there, but sorry for
no, yeah, this is you answered exactly what I wanted. I mean, that's obviously omnichannel and live shopping is extremely important. Each one of those channels are providing also a way to check out in a different way, right? So definitely TikTok is one ecosystem, Instagram and Facebook, they have like this DM functionality when you can automate checkout. Obviously YouTube as well with digital shelf, but you need to have some certain level of followers or views, right, in the last like 90 days, so just to meet that threshold. Great, Mike. So how people can find you and VaynerMedia?
Sorry, what's that?
How can people find you and VaynerMedia?
Well, I'd say we will come find you as we have a relatively large social presence, but Mike Feldman, VaynerMedia. You can find me on LinkedIn. I try to post pretty regularly, so hopefully you're seeing my content, but I'd say, LinkedIn's a great spot, or on any of our socials. You're everywhere.
Perfect. Mike, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's at one. Actually, the thing that I sort of forgot, I want to come back to on the live piece. So we did I mentioned the CBG 30,000 on the live stream, which like good. Where the real value I think comes in terms of like that quality content. We then took that live stream, we cut it up into a bunch of different clips, posted that organic social. So your 30,000 live stream that you cut up into a few different ways, posted organic social, ended up being several million impressions and views because you're taking that content. Posting an organic is free. You already have the content. So for like, there's even AI-based tools now where you can quickly cut up content into short clips. And so for really low opportunity costs, you can take a live stream and turn it into several million in views, even if you don't get that directly on the live stream. So in terms of the value equation, and even going back to some of the retail media conversations, I think there is an education component of like what all you can do with or how to extract value. But then I think the more that you can be thinking like full funnel, long-term, multiple sort of pieces of the equation, that's where you really start to see the value and benefit of these types of activities.
Yes, exactly. And they need to be marketed correctly, before, during, and post-event, right? I mean, just have to have the right product, creating this FOMO, whether it's a discount or an interesting host or some new product announcement. So, yeah, in some of those events, we see also conversion, like 10x conversion and traditional e-commerce conversion, right? And then again, if it's done right. And we see like Stormy Steele, I mean, she sold like, I think 3 months ago, like $1 million on TikTok in like a couple of hours. So these business volumes, like the numbers, GMVs per live shows are just increasing, right, by the day. So it's really a great opportunity for anyone out there. Mike, it was a pleasure. We learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah. Happy to join anytime.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. And if you could share this with just one person, it would make all the difference. Are you looking to accelerate your sales with the power of shoppable video? Explore Vimeo, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimeo at www.vimeo.net, that's VIMMI.net, where you can start with a free for life package. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you more valuable insights in our next episode.